So, in summary, we'd be more than happy to fight for you, Lord Frieza, and at long last get revenge against King Vegeta and his bloodline. Yeah, I actually don't need a Saiyan right now. What? See, I found someone who's far more powerful than you Saiyan monkeys, and in fact, I dare say he surpasses even the Kais. How can you say that? You haven't even seen Broly's power yet. Look, watch what happens when I electrocute him. Please, come to the window, and I'll show you what true power looks like.
Boy, this charcoal grill is so much better than my old propane one.
Earlier this year, anime fans got to enjoy a full-blown Dragon Ball anime film on the big screen. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it at the time, but now that it's out, I was finally able to take a look at and see what everyone online was ranting and raving about was the second coming of Jesus in animated form. And I gotta say, it left me a little disappointed. That isn't to say I thought it was bad though. Now, the story of the movie introduces a fan-favourite character called Broly into the overarching canon of the Dragon Ball anime. The character was a centerpiece in a movie trilogy back in the 90s, but those films, like the others, weren't necessarily canon or were just a companion piece to add more to the wider lore of the series. But with that being said, the story is full of nostalgia, and it did take me back to getting up in the morning just before school to watch Dragon Ball Z on TV and see what fight Goku and his friends were going to get into next. Now, the story does have a bit of an issue though, in that the very first fifth of the story is literally just recapping. The first 20 minutes does explain Broly's origin, which is nice, but it also uses that time to recap information that anyone with a good memory, or the target audience in general, already knows. We didn't need a recount of the destruction of planet Vegeta and the Saiyan race. But for those who aren't really into stuff that's dark and serious, Dragon Ball Super Broly's story is very lighthearted and full of humour. That isn't to say it doesn't have its serious moments, it does, and it even hints at some broader themes such as child development and mental health, but it is a story that isn't all up itself with its themes and trying to give you dark, serious characters. In fact, the main antagonist's overall motivation is literally, he wants to be taller. That's it! It was disappointing, I won't deny, but it did actually keep things entertaining and moving forward. Thanks in part to the other characters being well-rounded and just as likeable as they were back in the day when I watched the TV show, though I will admit the current voice acting is very hit or miss. Some actors give great performances, like the guys doing Goku, Vegeta, but others just don't sound right or don't give good performances. But one exception to this is Vic Mignogna, who does the voice of Broly. He gives an absolutely stellar performance. Granted, most of Broly's dialogue is just yelling and grunting, but it's actually still pretty convincing, and when he is given a chance to actually say a full sentence, his performance is stellar. The same can be said about the fight scenes that are just full of energy and just really show you how and why Japan's animation is held to such a high caliber that even if you're not into Dragon Ball or anime at all, you will be blown away by them. But that can't be said for the entirety of the movie's runtime because, dear God, the animation is not that great outside of the fight scenes. It really does at times look like it's just a straight up episode of the TV show. Which does remind me about another issue the story has. It's really just filler. I may have mentioned this before, but the other Dragon Ball films like Tree of Might, Garlic Jr., and Cooler, which were ones I've all seen, those were movies that you didn't need to have seen in order to get the full story of the anime. They just added more to the wider narrative, same with the original Broly trilogy. Here though, this movie is literally just an introduction for the character into the wider narrative. In that respect, it is actually necessary watching, but at the same time, not really that important to the wider narrative, especially when it just ends with a very open ending, with a lot of loose threads that will be tied up later on in the series, which did leave me pretty disappointed. Now, with all that being said, the big question is the movie bad? No, it's not. But is it a must-see film? No, it's not that either. This is a movie that's really just for the most die-hard of fans, and it will give them what they want. But if you're a casual moviegoer or someone who likes to watch anime off and on, this movie doesn't really have a whole lot to offer you. So unless you're really, really into Dragon Ball Super, this movie is not worth checking out unless you're just looking to kill some time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Sorry it's so late, late than never, like before. Anyway, for the next movie review, I'm going to be taking a look at the Netflix special, Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling. And for game reviews this month, I'm actually going to be doing a horror showcase, taking a look at some nice little horror games that have been on my radar, including frictional games Soma, Blair Witch, and Unlucky 7. I've got all that and more coming up, so please stick around.